plastic. Imagine oceans with more plastic waste in them than fish. Imagine piles of this plastic pollution staggering one over another, layer by layer, everywhere you go. What if trying to eliminate all this plastic waste would just make our climate even warmer and more polluted than it already is? Finally, what if I told you that all this would really happen in the near future if we continue our consumption rate like this? As we all know, plastic pollution is one of the most critical challenges we are facing globally today. The use of plastic products have been widespread in the last several decades because of how easy and convenient they can make our lives. It's nearly impossible to find plastic-free versions of our everyday items in the average stores. Over 380 million tons of plastic are produced each year for use in a wide variety of applications. Some reports indicate that up to 50% of all this is made for single-use purposes only. With each passing minute, 1 million plastic bags are being used and 1 million plastic bottles are being purchased worldwide. What's sad is that people use a material that's meant to last for hundreds of years to design a product that's only meant to be used for a few moments. Statistics show an average useful lifetime of plastics being produced is only 12 minutes. What happens to them after that? Well, only 9% of all the plastics being produced actually gets recycled, and the rest of them end up in landfills or in the ocean. It's estimated that over 14 million tons of plastic are thrown into the ocean each year. Plastic can be found nearly everywhere, even 7 miles under the ocean, on some of the most remote coastlines, and even in the pristine waters of Antarctica. The situation is getting worse each year, and that brings us a very serious concern, because it can lead to many other global threats. The impact is so high and widespread, and yet there's still no sign of improvement. One of the first ones are ocean pollution. The amount of plastic in the ocean is expected to double in the next 15 years. By 2050, there could be more plastic in the ocean than there are fish. Most of the plastic we find in the ocean comes directly from the land, and it flows downstream through rivers, all the way down to the sea, where it's pulled in by rotating ocean currents to form one large patch of this garbage waste. The largest of these garbage patches is called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is a collection of marine debris located in the North Pacific Ocean, and it's estimated to be about the size of Texas. Marine debris is plastic garbage that ends up in the oceans. Most of the debris that accumulates in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, because of the fact that most of them are not biodegradable. It's the largest accumulation of ocean plastic in the entire world. Secondly, microplastics. When plastic garbage is worn down by sunlight, waves, and ocean currents, it breaks down into much smaller particles, and it's called microplastics. 50% of microplastics sink to the bottom of the ocean, but the rest of them float around the surface areas. Since microplastics can be smaller than 5 millimeters, they can be easily mistaken by sea creatures, such as maybe plankton, fish, squid, and maybe other marine creatures. And then finally, they will enter into our food chain, since the sea creatures before us will pass down that consumption of the microplastics into our food chain. Microplastics aren't just found in the ocean anymore. They're literally in every corner of our planet. It's in the air we breathe, in the water we drink, and it's in the food we eat, and even in the soil that we cultivate. If you ever wonder how much plastic that we're actually consuming on a daily basis, studies continue to show that people are ingesting plastic in extremely high levels. On average, a person will have consumed at least 5 grams of plastic per week, which is equivalent to the weight of a credit card. Per month, a person will have eaten at least 21 grams of plastic, which is equal to the weight of a Lego brick. Per year, an average person will have eaten at least 250 grams of plastic, which is equivalent to the weight of a dinner plate. In a lifetime, an average person will have consumed at least 40 pounds of plastic waste, which is the equivalent to the weight of 2 entire recycling bins. How alarming is this? It's believed to have a harmful effect on our health, since microplastics serve as carriers for toxic chemicals, such as heavy metals and other organic pollutants in the environment. The effects of microplastic on human health under long term is still under study. It may not show an immediate impact, but it's believed to be accumulative and could be linked to cancer and many other diseases. Thirdly, the endangering of marine life. We've seen countless news and pictures globally of marine life suffering because of plastic pollution in the ocean. Marine creatures such as seabirds, whales, fish, and turtles can die of starvation or ruptured organs since their stomachs become filled with plastic. Plastic pieces, when in the water, can look like fish, squid, or even jellyfish, and can be mistakenly eaten by much marine wildlife. Others can become tangled in this plastic debris, which can cause them severe injuries or even death. With that being said, we'd probably think our future is doomed. But what can we do to help? How can we live through a day without using plastic pollution at all when it's involved in nearly every moment of our lives? Well, thanks to some recent discoveries though, there's still some hope. Hope brought to us by some recent technological breakthroughs. Firstly, bioplastic. Recently there's been the discovery of some natural materials such as algae, avocados, or even mushrooms that can be used to create an alternative for plastic. Now hear me out. These biodegradable products can replace their regular plastic counterparts, such as styrofoam, food packaging, plastic wrap, and even plastic cups. Better yet, these products don't pose any threat to the environment, since they're completely made out of organic material, and they can decompose much faster, unlike original plastic. The bioplastic from algae can decompose in under 48 days in facilities or landfills, and a few weeks longer than that in an average household's compost. Compared to the original plastic that we currently use right now, which doesn't decompose at all. Algae makes such a great resource for biodegradable plastic because of how abundant it is, how quickly it grows, and the fact that it doesn't need good quality water to grow. However, the formula to creating the perfect biodegradable replica of plastic still hasn't been perfected yet, but with each trial, scientists have been getting closer and closer to the solution of plastic waste. Secondly, decomposing plastic. The so-called indestructible material, plastic, is now able to be decomposed. In March 2016, there was the discovery of a plastic-devouring microorganism. The discovery was made by Japanese scientists in a plastic recycling plant. They noticed a strange substance starting to grow over a pile of plastic waste that had been left outside in the rain and weather. And it turns out it was made up of living microorganisms that released enzymes with the capability of breaking down plastic to its original chemical form. Even more surprisingly, this microorganism would then consume that chemical form of the plastic, while also producing a byproduct that's able to be used as an alternative for fossil fuels. The scientists decided to call this microorganism Euanontat saccaiensis, which means plastic-eating bacteria. Later, there's also been some relating evidence found in Europe. A study of 29 lakes has shown that some naturally occurring lake bacteria can grow faster on the remains of plastic bags or other waste products than on organic material, such as leaves, twigs, or other organic matter. In other words, this bacteria can break down the carbon compounds in plastic to use as food for its growth. Thanks to the evolution of bacteria, scientists say that enriching the water with certain species of it can be a natural way to remove plastic pollution from the environment. However, this process will still take time. At this point, we're all aware that the innovative technology is there to tackle the plastic pollution challenge. However, it's still in the early stages of development, and we can't simply just rely on scientists, businesses, or governments to take action. As individuals, who are also partially the cause of this crisis, we need to take responsibility. Clearly, we're going to have to do something. But some might wonder, how are we supposed to do anything at all when we're such a small part of society, and an even smaller part of the world's population? Well, how much impact would it really have? Can we actually make a change? Shouldn't we just leave it for the larger organizations to deal with? Well, fortunately, there are certainly quite a few things that we can do to help improve this problem. Here are some of my ideas. Firstly, say no to as many single-use plastic products as possible. Did you know that as much as 50% of all plastic products being produced is made for single-use purposes only? Imagine a person's typical day in life. Nearly everything around us is made out of plastics for single use. We can replace them with reusable items, such as maybe reusable food containers, refillable water bottles, reusable utensils, or reusable straws, or other materials. Secondly, we can say no to overpackaged products. Some supermarket products are overpackaged. such as anything that has unnecessary packaging on it or is individually wrapped with plastic. Instead, when shopping for food or snacks, try to go for the bulk section and store your products in reusable glass containers instead of disposable plastic containers. Thirdly, you can support any businesses that have good product design, such as anything that can be refilled or reused, such as maybe shampoo, hand soap, liquid, or dishwasher, or any other household cleaning products that maybe have reusable packaging or bottles. Also, you can support any businesses that use biodegradable plastic or any other alternatives whenever possible. Fourthly, you can set up a recycling center at your very own home and sort your recyclable waste from your compost. If you don't sort your recyclables from your compost, then the mixed waste will end up in landfills instead of getting recycled. Fifthly, you can join your local community and take part in activities that can help solve the plastic pollution crisis, such as maybe community cleanups or making some donations to help support the research funding. Sixthly, you can help spread awareness about the plastic pollution crisis by maybe making some posts on social media, writing articles or blogs, or just creating some artwork that might help deliver the message. With that being said, the future is in our hands. Will there be more plastic than fish in the ocean by 2050? Will the Great Pacific Garbage Patch maybe increase in size? Or will more and more of these garbage patches start appearing elsewhere in the ocean and cause more harm? What about the marine life? Would they still have a safe place to live? It all depends on us. Our actions today can determine our own future. We can do this by breaking the habit of being so addicted to throwaway living. Leave behind the convenience of single-use plastics. It may seem difficult at first, but it's still achievable. Even this small change in our living can make a huge impact to the place we live. After all, even the smallest change can make a huge difference if we make it all together. All we need to do now is just embrace this change. Thank you.